Hello, Wingham enthusiasts watching at home. It is my pleasure to introduce you to Jeff McLeod of New Coast Financial Services. Jeff finances RVs, and he is here to answer all the questions that you may have about purchasing and financing a Wingham. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Oh, thank you so much, Tony. I'm happy to be here. I'm doing great. I hope you're doing well today and excited about your new launch and potentially helping some of your customers, um, looking for finance options to bring that to reality for them.
Thank you. Thank you. We are excited. Uh, Let everyone watching at home know a little bit about yourself and your company.
Okay, so I'm with New Coast Financial Services. We're located in Oldsmar, Florida. We've been around for about 22 years. Some of the boating enthusiasts out there may know Marine Max, which is a nationally recognized retailer of boats, publicly traded company. We're the finance wholly owned subsidiary to New Coast. I'm sorry, New Coast is to Marine Max, excuse me. And so we're a finance company and we underwrite RV and marine deals. I specifically focus on RV. I've got about 30 years of experience in the RV marketplace.
Jeff, do you finance all types of RVs? So class A's, B's, and C's? Because as you know, Winghams are class B's.
That is correct. We finance, just as you said, all types of RVs, and we even go to the upper end too, um, models that you would not even normally see in high production. But yes, RV is a big part of our business, and we've been very involved in the RV sector for at least 15 years now.
Awesome. So a Wingham customer contacts you and says, Jeff, I'm looking at buying a Wingham. I really want to buy a Wingham. And they ask you to walk them through the financing process from start to finish. Can you let them know what to expect?
Yes, absolutely. First off, we try to make it as easy as possible for them. Um, and what we would do is ask a few questions, what their goals are, what they're trying to look at as far as term and payments and down payment. Where the Wingham is priced, we would be discussing down payments of 20%, terms up to 240 months. At that point, if they agree, we would offer them to fill out an online application, a secure application. Based on the loan amount, we would not need the extra income tax returns and personal financial statements. We would offer a stated income loan, no documentation. Uh, it
You're
takes,
saying at a
yeah.
20% down payment, they can go stated.
Correct. Stated are on is available on loans. Good question. Stated is offered on loans below 250,000. So right up to 249,999, there are stated income loan options available.
Elaborate a little bit on what stated means.
So stated means that we're not going to need proof of income in the form of tax returns and a personal financial statement. So we call it stated. Oftentimes, no doc. Many times you hear no doc in the mortgage business, and that has to do with the ceiling of the loan amount. And a lot of customers like the ease of that. It's a little less complicated.
But they still will be required to fill out a credit application where you'll check their FICO score.
Yes, what we would have is a link that would be sent to them. It's a pretty basic credit application, name, address, social, birth date, sources of income, um, employed, retired, and then we do what is known as a soft credit inquiry, so there's no impact, and that allows us to get a score and determine and work up a debt to income ratio where we determine based on the income and what is going out in terms of installment or different credit payments. We can work up a debt to income, and then we're able to identify where the best option is for that particular applicant.
So the process of the application, the soft credit pull, How long does that take?
So, but by the time the application would take usually about 6 or 7 minutes. I've done it, timed it, so it's pretty quick. We get that in within minutes of that completion, and at that point, we would do the soft inquiry, determine what is the best lender option, and then normally on a day like a typical day today, I can give you a great example. We had a gentleman apply for a loan this morning at 8:30, and his approval loan decision was back to us by right at 11:30 Eastern time. So just about 3 hours turnaround time. And then he's presented with that option and for his approval.
Is there a point at which you do a hard pull on a customer's credit? And if so, at what point is that?
So yes, that's a great question. We don't. Wherever we decide, it kind of gives us the look of what is going, gives us a score, so we know what is the best option. That's why we do it. But the lender we choose will use a hard inquiry. And the great thing about that is that we don't need to send that around to 5 different lenders. We've been doing this long enough. We know what is you know the best option. And so that's where we'll go, and we limit the amount of impact and inquiries on a person's credit bureau.
Just for clarity, so there are two stages to this process. The first is sort of a qualification with you, and then there is a second qualification with the actual lender that's going to
Yeah,
fund the loan, and that lender does do a hard credit pull on the customer.
that's correct. What we're known as a correspondent finance company. A little bit different from a broker because we underwrite the deal and we have specific correspondent relationships with lenders that are focused in this space with designated buyers and funding processes. So a little bit different from an individual just going down to their brick and mortar local bank, which may or may not have, um, you know, terms and rates the same as a focused recreational lender would have. Somebody that's in this space specifically.
Does Newcoast finance customers at various credit levels? So subprime all the way up to, well, obviously you do prime, but we go as low as subprime.
Yeah, we do have non-prime options. Things happen, bad things happen to good people, and they're in the process of rebuilding or getting back on their feet again. And there are options that we can bring in and we'll discuss that. We'll go through what that looks like in terms of interest rates, and there may be some additional documentation on a non-prime loan. They may ask for bank statements, 3 months of bank statements. There could be for self-employed people. There may be some other qualifications that they have to meet with references and things like that. But to your point, yes, there are options all the way from non-prime, which are going to be credit scores down in the 600s, all the way up to premium prime customers, with scores over 800.
Can you walk through the Wingamm customers watching at home, what they could expect as far as how their down payment and interest rate might change as their credit score starts in the 600s and goes up from there?
Yes. So lenders typically there's two ways to obtain an interest rate. One is going to be on the amount of money you're going to borrow. So this may be counterintuitive to some of you, but the higher the loan amount, the lower the rate.
Higher the loan amount.
Yes, the lower the rate.
I've actually never heard that before. That
Yes.
the more
Well, like I
the
said,
more debt they take, the more debt they take, the lower their interest rate.
the lower the interest rate. And I guess
Interesting.
the best way to try to like put a picture to that is there on a higher loan, there's more um, long-term, finance um, more meat on the bone for the lender and the rates get more competitive because everybody wants that premium customer and the bigger dollar amount. So that drives a much more competitive rate environment.
Customers watching at home, if they have excellent credit and they take out a larger loan to value, so let's say they take out a 80% loan to value, they can expect the best interest rate.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, and then also in some cases, if they're willing to put a little bit more money down, so we're talking 20%, right? And there's still rates out there right now for those customers that are going to generally be in the mid six to maybe high sixes right now on up to a 20-year. But there's options we can bring back and we can say, hey, if you want to do a 70% loan to value and drop your term to 15 years, here's a different rate. And you can have options. So you're not locked in and you can choose, what may be best for your individual situation.
I feel like I may have interrupted, so I apologize. Let's go back to what interest rate they can expect and sort of corresponding that with their down payment, just high level, high
Yeah.
level.
Yeah. So they can expect a rate with an 80% loan to value. Then we're talking like a 20% down payment with an 800 credit score. A rate around 6.75 right now for a 20-year term.
As you go down the trough to a lower FICO score, what should they
Then,
expect?
right. Then we're going to see rates. You, when you start getting below 760, so let's say on a 740 to 760, then you're going to be looking at probably something in the 7.25 range. And then when
This
you
is with,
get,
this is with
yeah,
about 20% down.
yes.
Okay.
And again, it's like almost like like a cafeteria of options because there are some ways to go where we can offer a client, hey, look, this lender doesn't tier credit scores, but they might want proof of income at a $200,000 loan level instead of a 250. So what I'm giving you is in general terms what to expect, but we kind of know, well, we don't kind of, we do know where the best zone is to get the best rates and give people different options to try to accomplish what they want to do. Um,
I think that's wonderful for our customers watching at home to know that if they contact you, they can tell you what their needs are, and you can create a customizable financing product for them to
that's
meet their needs.
that's well said. That's absolutely true. Yes. Yeah.
Excellent. And just
Everybody
to
has
and just to
different objectives.
everybody does have different objectives. That's right. And then just to sort of round it off, you were talking about the mid 700s and what interest rate they could expect. So let's say we go a little bit further down to the low 700s and then the 600s. What kind of interest rate are you looking at
So
today?
low 700s. Again, we're going to be in that probably mid seven tier rate wise, maybe to upper sevens. And then when you get below 700, now we're kind of getting into that non-prime area. And it's a big difference between a 690 and a 700. It may not sound numerically like, oh, wow, 10 points, but there's a 690 there's a reason why a score is a 690 and not a 710 or a 720. Generally, it has to do with revolving debt or maybe a couple late pays here and there or something that's driving that score. So the score definitely does not always tell the whole picture. And that's something that people should realize. We looked at a 784 credit score on Friday. And at first glance, you think, oh my gosh, this guy, he's got a great score, can buy what he wants. And then on further investigation, he had 11 times 30-day late payments on just a whole myriad of car loans, installment loans, and credit cards. And at a 784, he's going all the way back to non-prime, and he probably would be in a 14% rate category.
Understood.
So,
As
yeah.
far as financing lengths. So the longest length and the shortest length that customers could expect to be offered to them. Uh, why don't you walk us through those options? And then is there ever an interest only option, or do all RV loans are all RV loans fully amortized?
Yes, okay. There are options. There's minimum option is 96 months, and then you can go all the way to 240 months, and then in between. So you have 96 months, you have 120 months, 144 months. That's 12 years. 180, 15 years, 240, 20 years. Um, any of those terms I mentioned, the amortization is over that full term. So a 20-year term is going to be a 20-year AM, and you're going to get the lowest payment. And one thing that you always got to keep in mind is the shorter terms are going to allow you to build, knock down principal quicker than a longer term. But again, they're not for everybody. People want to have the option. I see a lot of times, Tony, where people will say, well, I want to budget every month on a 20-year term, but these are simple interest loans. So there's no additional penalty to pay principal extra every month. So they may like the comfort of having a set lower payment. And then when different events occur where there's more money in the budget, they can apply overages to the principal amount and apply it directly.
Good to know. Jeff, can customers, if they want to, let's say, for example, pay cash for their Wingham, can they finance their aftermarket insurance products with you?
So there is a separate finance agreement that we do through that vendor. And I believe that on those additional products that we're talking about, there are options to finance those either on a 12 or a 24-month period.
Excellent. And I know a lot of people are wondering at home, and if you don't want to answer this because you're not a CPA, that's fine, but I'm going to ask, uh, is the interest on the loan a deduction off of our customers' taxes, like a home loan interest?
Sure. So yes, again, like you said, I'm not a CPA, but I know that there are situations where people spend the required amount of time in the RV per year. I believe it's 14 nights. The RV must have a bathroom and a kitchen and, a place to sleep to qualify for that.
It's good news that Wingham has all three of those, and
Yeah, I know.
and I think they're the most beautiful of any Class B. So,
They're pretty cool, I gotta tell you.
my opinion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm going to Europe in a couple of weeks on a river cruise, and it's really cool to see. I've seen Winghams in Europe before, and they really are very popular. So I know the U.S. is going to love them.
Thank you. Thank you. We agree. So for the Wingham customers watching at home, before we go, is there anything that you would like to tell them other than, of course, how to contact you if they're interested in financing a
Oh,
Wingham
sure.
RV?
I What we try to do is give you all. We really focus on the customer. We want to do what's right. We want to make it a Nordstrom's customer experience. We want to do everything we can to take care of you in a timely manner to meet or really exceed your expectations. And at the end of the day, make it easy for you. And sometimes, some of the things we might tell you or ask you, it might not seem obvious at first, but I can assure you we only want to make it easier and we want to make it quicker for you. And you can count on us to do that. And we're very responsive, and we know that there's a lot of competition out there, and we'll always, pledge that we'll get back to you in a timely manner and provide you transparency and information you're going to need to know to make the decision.
Thank you so much for that, Jeff. And I can let everybody watching at home know that, we've had lots of RV lenders approach us.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time speaking with you. We were very impressed. We thought that you would make a fantastic lender for our Wingham customers. So we wanted to work with you and partner with you. So we're grateful to have you. and excited for our customers to be able to contact you and explore financing a Wingham purchase.
Yeah, and I'll just throw out, you can email me um, at my name, Jeff, Jeff, dot, my last name, McLeod, MCLEOD, at newcoast.com. And I'm happy to get right back to you and answer any questions or give you ideas about rates and terms and payments.
And certainly, everyone watching at home can contact Wingham USA and we can forward your information.
That'd be great too. Yes.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much for your time. And for everyone watching at home, thank you so much. We'll talk to everyone soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.